Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your host, 12 Kyle. And we have a special guest on this week's episode. Well, I mean, she's really not a guest, but she is a guest because actually, I didn't realize this. This is her first time on the 12 Kyle podcast. And I apologize in advance because she should have been here a long time ago.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is your first time on the podcast. We've done podcasts before, but I was on yours.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, yeah.
So without further ado, let me introduce to you guys this week's co-host. Again, no stranger to the show. I'm a huge fan of her podcast. She is a mother. She's an entrepreneur. She's a hustler. And she does a little bit of everything. And you're going to love her on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow podcaster Tamara the Dawn, or AKA Tamara.
Okay. Come on. Turn me up in my autumn voice. Shout out to the crew.
What's up, Tamara? What's good?
Man, thank you for having me. Are you sure I've never been on
Never
here?
Never been. Autumn's been on here. Jay's been on here. And that's it.
Oh, so my other friends have been on. That's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, no.
That's crazy. I thought this was like my second time or something.
No. And you know what's funny? You did an episode, I want to say it was probably about a year ago. It might have been a little bit longer than that. And you were talking about dating and your dating life. And I was like, and I had an idea for a podcast. I was like, Tamara would be dope for this. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna send the email. I kept pushing it back. And then we got toward the end of the year. And I was like, you know what? I said, that'd be great, to start 2023 off. So that's when I hit you up the other day. And I was like, I found the perfect subject because just listening to that particular episode about dating, it had me cracking up. And then the episode that you did with Baylor, I was like, oh, she got stories.
Oh, yeah, I've lived a life.
Right. So we're going to talk about the friend zone, getting out of the friend zone. Now, for those of you listening, Tamara is single. So you slide in her DMs if you want to, but you better slide correct.
I'm glad you added the end part because please. Yes.
So we're going to talk about that. Like I said, I had to have her on here because I was doing some reading as I normally am, and I came across this article and it talked about, ways to get out of the friend zone. Now, I've done a podcast before about being in the friend zone. Personally, as a guy, aside from the fact that I'm married, but as a guy, I think it's damn near impossible to get out of the friend zone. But this article kind of gave me and other men pointers as to how to get out of the friend zone. And so who better than to run these ideas past my good friend Tamara the Dawn.
I love it.
So are you ready?
Because in my mind, I'm like, okay. Yeah, I want to hear these ideas because I didn't know people could get out of. Yeah, come with it.
That's what they say. So
let me see what they talking.
we've got a few, so I'll run them down. The first, and these are in no particular order. The first way that they recommend that you get out of the friend zone is to quote break the quote unquote nice guy quote unquote best friend stereotype. So my question to you, Tamara, is if a guy is your bestie, I don't know if women our age refer to men as besties, but if a guy is your bestie, or he's just a nice guy, how does he break that mold, or can he break that mold?
Yeah, that's a weird one. Because as soon as you said that, I thought about my guy friends that are my best friends, and no, like now, granted, both of them are married, so I definitely can't think of it like that at all. Right. But even when the one who got, I guess, married more recently, even when he wasn't married, I don't know, because it's kind of like how I am with guy friends. If you're my for real friend, I'm going to talk to you about, hopes, dreams, aspirations, fears, and maybe even what I want in a man. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to talk about relationships and whatever. And so, me being me in the way that I think, if then my best friend who has all of this information then tried to break out of the place that I put him, he would have like this unfair advantage, and I would be questioning a lot of stuff because you've been getting all this information all this time. And so, like, for me personally, I couldn't fathom that at all. Not a best friend for sure.
What about just a guy friend? I mean, like, I don't know if you have guy friends that aren't married, but like, is that possible for that guy friend that you're cool with, or you've been cool with? Maybe y'all used to work together, maybe you went to school together, maybe you go to church together. Is it
Okay, so a guy friend that's not best friend, that's different, because
yes.
he's not going to have all the access and the insight that the best friend is going to have. So, like,
Okay.
I think for me, if I had a guy friend that was genuinely interested in me, like in that way, I feel like he should just be honest about it. When he comes, I mean, obviously we're already friends, so you probably got some kind of feelings or whatever. And so I'm
But
gonna ask.
if you guys are friends, do you really have feelings?
No, no,
If you're
no.
just
I'm saying, if you come to me like that and we're
okay.
friends, you must have genuine feelings. I don't think if we're friends, you're going to come on some bull if we're friends. Now, if you just a nigga on the street that I don't even really know, that's different. But if you're somebody that I'm classifying as a friend, I would think, especially how I carry myself in the way that I am, that you must really have some sort of feelings that you want to cross this line. And so I'm going to ask you why. I will ask anybody why, honestly. And so then depending on what you say, or who knows, maybe I had those thoughts but didn't want to cross that line or whatever. So I just feel like if you're a friend and you feel some type of way, you should just be straight up about it, and don't throw no hints, don't drop no hints, because I'm going to either act like I don't know, or I probably really don't know, because I probably really don't think you're on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, but best friend, nah. Mm-mm.
Okay, so now let's get a little personal real quick. Has there ever been a friend, not a best friend, but a friend that came at you like that, like on some like, yo, I'm feeling you.
I got a story. I got a
Go ahead,
story.
tell it.
Let's
Tell it.
talk
That's why you're
about
here.
two sides of the friend zone, right? Because this
Okay.
story is funny. So it was actually first I was friend zoned, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so this
Now
story
that's a
is
story in and of itself.
right. So there was somebody that I was friends with, and we were hang out. We'd even drink together, and he was always like, man, there was a time I remember I drank a lot and I wasn't in a position to be driving home at all. And he let me crash at his place and didn't come. Nope. He wasn't on nothing. He just gave me a blanket, let me sleep, and even cooked for me the next day. Right.
Wow.
And so the more we just started hanging out more and more and more. And so I actually started to develop feelings. So I actually told him that, like, hey, because I'm just the kind of person that I couldn't sit in his face and have these feelings and not say nothing. Like, I thought about it for a while. I weighed, like, okay, what would I do if whatever? Hey, just tell me no. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so are you ready for this? Because this
I'm
is
all ears.
bull.
I'm all
So
ears.
this gentleman will say that this gentleman says, "Oh, I'm not." He said, "I'm not good with relationships," or something like that. And because we had talked about that type of stuff, I believed him because I thought that if it was anything else than that, like, oh, I'm talking to somebody else, I'm feeling somebody else or whatever, he would have just said that because we were friends. But no, hold up.
No, nigga.
That's not what happened. You feel me? That is not what happened. What happened was he said that, and that was a whole bunch of bull. Because then 2 weeks later, not even 2 weeks, so you can't tell me that in 2 weeks you suddenly became this miraculous new person that, oh, now I'm with relationships. What he should have said is, I'm not good with a relationship with you. You feel me? That with you was silent and the with you should have been loud. So like 2 weeks later, he's in a relationship with somebody else. And I was pissed. I wasn't pissed because he was in a relationship with someone else. I was pissed because he sat up in my face and basically lied when he should have just been like, hey, I'm talking to somebody else, or I like somebody else, or whatever. So I fell back because I just was mad and didn't really know how to kind of really come at him with that, because I'm like, well, do I have the right to be mad? I also had to figure it out, like, what I was actually mad about. So then finally we talked about it and we became cool again or whatever. Why this nigga try to spin the block though later, but not on no relationship stuff, on some sex stuff? And see, this is where I'm saying you wouldn't have came with that if you didn't know I already have feelings. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I believe. And so then that's when I friend zoned him, and I was like, no, you're my friend. And so we can't be on that. And nah, if you want to remain my friend, because if we do that, we'll do that and I'll never talk to you again. So, yeah.
Oh.
that was my friend zone story. Would I have said that had he not did what he did? Probably not. But it's just like, it's the audacity for me. Like, how you gonna lie in my face? Then we cool again, and then you try to spin the block, but not on like nothing real, just on some you trying to get some. I don't know who you thought I was, but I'm not the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12. Yes. So that was my friend zone story. Put the thing down, flipped it, and reversed it. You feel me?
Wow. Are you okay? So last question about that. Are you guys still friends now?
No.
Okay.
No, we just, and it's really just in a lot of relationships in my life, we will get distance after distant. We're not beefing. I'm not mad. It's just, I just started focusing on different stuff, and there were just relationships, not even just him, that we were just kind of not focused on the same stuff. And I just kind of saw that those relationships ultimately distracted me from what I was trying to be focused on. And so that's when we like for real fell apart. Now, if I saw him in the streets, I'd speak, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't like that, but we not cool like that. Nah.
Okay. Wow. That's a hell of a story right there. You say spun, and I want you guys to notice she actually came in with her own sound effects right
there. Shout out to Audrey.
She came in with her own sound effects. Next question about getting out of the friend zone. One of the tips that they said is that you should give her some space. Now that kind of had me scratching my head, because it's like, if I'm in the friend zone and I'm trying to get out of the friend zone, I don't know how I can get closer if I'm giving her space. What do you think about that?
That's weird, because if I had a friend and then they just went distant, well, me, especially if like we talk consistently or whatever, I would probably ask like, hey, like, what's up? Or hey, stranger, where you been? Or something. And so if you're doing that on purpose, thinking that the distance is going to make you further away, so then maybe I'll see you in a new light, that is weird. And out of sight, out of mind. You feel me? So nah, that one, no, that don't make no sense. And that seems like games. I just really feel like if that's your friend, you should just be straight up like the last one.
I agree. Yeah. getting out of the friend zone is hard enough. Giving them space while you're trying to get out of the friend zone is, I think that's you're asking for it at that point. I
Listen,
don't
if
really
you
know how you're
just
gonna close the
want
gap.
right, if you just want somebody else to take your place, just say that, because that's what that's giving. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's not giving I want to be with you. It's maybe, and I might think, oh, maybe you are dating someone else or whatever, because my guy, like one person in particular, close guy friend, once he started dating his now wife, you're going to invest more time into that. And it might have been different if he lived here, but he lives out of town. And so more time invested in that. And then I even fell back just out of respect for her, because I don't want her to feel like I've known this man since like the 7th grade. So it's not like that at all. And I've met her. She and I are friends on social media. So like since then, but like when she didn't know me, you know, you may feel some insecurity or whatever. So I gave distance so that he could do his thing. And so that's what I would think if you gave distance, that you trying to give me space to do my thing.
And so why would there be insecurity, Tamara?
Man,
Let me look into the camera.
Yeah, look into my eyes. You feel me? Not because of me, but just in general. Sometimes when you're starting a new relationship and someone has history, just off of that, you may feel like if you're not fully secure in the relationship, and again, that's on you. That's not on me, but me understanding that could be a thing. Like you're trying to start this new relationship, and sometimes if somebody has a best friend that's of the opposite sex or whatever, it may feel a little intimidating that they have this whatever. And so it's never that serious to me to make someone feel that way, you know what I'm saying? And just give them that respect. And then too, like, she doesn't know me, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause he lives in a different city. So it's not like she could meet me, get a feel for me and see whatever. Right. I'm just this stranger in her eyes, texting, calling or whatever. And so I know, you know, women can be jealous at times and want to know what's going on and this, that, and the other. And should she be? No, but hey, that's who he's with. So I'm not trying to, you know, mess up. And now they're married. And I mean, but what I love about it is she knows that I am somebody important to him. And so I think it was when he turned 40, she actually reached out to me. She had some gift was coming up with for him, where it was like words of encouragement or kind words or birthday wishes, like from his important people in his life. And so like her reaching out to me, I'm like, I love that, because that means you're not on no weird stuff. And I also then loved her for him, because I'm like, I love that you're putting this effort into his birthday. And then prior to them getting together, like sometimes I'd write him letters or just different things to encourage him, because he's had like some loss. And so just that type of stuff. And so when they got married, I made them a gift, and it was like pictures of them that I stole from his Instagram, and I created this canvas and put this, you know, words on it or whatever. And in his thank you, he was like, you've always made me feel loved, and now you've made her feel loved too, which that's important, because what I didn't know is like the cards and stuff that I would send him, he would put that in his office. And like, I'm saying, I love you because I've known you since the 7th grade. So yes, I love you as my friend. But when you see, because me knowing that, it's like, I don't want you to think it's anything more than that, because that is literally the homie. And some people see that, and then some people don't. And I didn't really know where she was at with that at that point. So, you know, I just wanted to respect what he was trying to do and, you know, support it. Now I know, yeah, sure, I could be like, oh, I love you when we talk and all that, and it's not weird, but I didn't know her. So I ain't know. So don't be, I didn't like how, you made it seem like, it was more than that because it
No,
definitely.
no. I'm asking the questions here, so I just want to make sure that I don't
Okay.
miss anything for the listening
Okay.
public.
Right. Because they might been wondering. I feel you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't in your business yet.
I mean, I feel like you've already been in my business. So here we are. You know what I'm saying?
So the next question, or the next pointer that they said, to get out of the friend zone, would they recommend don't pretend to be someone's boyfriend or girlfriend. And that one like had me scratching my head too, because I'm like, if you're in the friend zone, you're not necessarily, and what they meant by boyfriend or girlfriend is not carrying out those type of duties. Like if I'm in the friend zone and you normally would go out to dinner or go out to the movies with your boyfriend, then that's not something that we should be doing if I have all intent on getting out of the friend zone. So kind of cutting back on doing the boyfriend girlfriend type stuff. What do you think about that?
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this correctly. So they're already doing this and then he's going to cut back on dinners and all this
Hanging out,
because
picking, whatever, going out for drinks, whatever.
because he wants to get out of the friend zone.
He's,
Okay,
he,
so I have a question to your core to that point.
uh-huh.
If you do that, what does he think is going to happen? That she's going to say, "Oh, I miss you. I want to be with you," just for nothing? Like, I don't understand that unless he's going to say something to her, which all of these are not saying he and then communicate. You know what I'm saying? They're all missing that piece where it's giving. No, and it's so funny. I don't even really be saying it's giving like that, but I sometimes do. And it's giving like you're scared and insecure and you don't want to just say how you feel. And somebody like me, that wouldn't even work. If you just start falling back, I will ask why. So because I do have guy friends that he's single and he lives out of town and he comes in town and we'll get together when he comes in town or even when he lived here. No, it's just a friend. Like it's really just a friend.
I ain't
I've
say
no,
nothing.
you didn't have to. It was written all over your face. You feel me? But no, it's just a friend. And when he lived here, we'd hang out or we'd do whatever. When I've had like game nights where I'd have friends over, he's come to that. So we've done group stuff. We've done one-on-one stuff, like go get drinks, but it's really just my friend. We've talked on the phone for hours, like catching up. It's really just my friend. And so if that was something we did and then you just suddenly stop, I would ask why, because that would just seem weird. So excuse me, then when I ask why, if then you say, well, I'm having these feelings or whatever, like that is the time you communicate. If you give me some BS reason and then later tell me, oh, well, this was really why, I don't know, bruh. I don't know. I will ask though. I know that. So if you're doing that to trying to get her to ask, it still feels like games, but I get it. Not everybody is straightforward with stuff, and I feel you should be, because it just really takes away. It gives people that reassurance that they need. It takes away the guessing games and all that, but I know sometimes in practice that can be a little more difficult doing. So I get it. So then when I ask you, hey, what's going on? How come? Because I'll probably just start calling you shady. Like, what are you doing? Why are we not doing what we normally do? And here's question part 2. Why is dinner boyfriend stuff? Like, two friends can't just go get food or hang out, and that's not that they got to be in a relationship. I
Well, I
don't
mean, now
understand.
you got to remember, you're talking to the old married guy. So let me guy and step into the single guy. I think that is a great question. I think the thing is that when you have moments like that, some men, not all, some men take that a little bit deeper than what it is. Because like if you call John and say, hey man, you want to go get some wings, watch the game, that's like some cool out shit to him, but it's important to him. It's important, one, that you initiated it, and then two, you want to spend time. And if he's feeling you, all of that. See, here's the thing, and I mentioned this on one podcast before, and it's worth repeating. As men, what we look for is confirmations. Do you want to go out? Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to come over? Yes. Can I get your number? Yes. You want to get some drinks? Yes. Is it okay if I buy you something? Yes. So we're constantly looking for confirmations. So as we're getting confirmations along the way, you know, some of us, again, not all of us, but some of us can tend to look at those things, and those things can be bigger than what they are. I know guys in particular who, you know, single, and without giving any names, you know, if because they kill me if I told her, but like if a woman that they're interested in would say, hey, you know, let's go grab some dinner. And, you know, one, she's asking, and then she's going to pay for dinner. Like they're looking at it like, okay, she's feeling me. Like I'm moving beyond the friend zone. And that could just be her just being nice, you know?
I done learned something today. I did not know men were like that at all.
Some of us are, but I think for the most part, and it touches on something that you mentioned a little earlier, the fear of rejection. I think that fear, I want to say it, I can't speak for all men, but I want to say that fear probably wasn't as strong back when we were kids, when we were in our, you know, teenage years, in our early 20s or whatever like that. But now as we've gotten older and become more seasoned, yeah, I mean, you know, you don't want to be rejected. And I mean, like if a friendship is on the line, you have to ask yourself, you know, is it worth whatever relationship that I'm looking to pursue? Is it worth this friendship? Because if like the guy you mentioned a little earlier, if he's bad with relationships, there's a good chance if y'all try this relationship thing, it might not work. So, and you lose a friend in the process.
And what's funny is that relationship that he got into didn't work. They didn't last. That's how he was able to spin the block. But the way he did that, I feel like that could have been done better. I don't know. But I guess I didn't think about it like that. I actually never really have that. If let's say maybe he was feeling me, but he knows who I am and what I'm about, and we're friends, and he's not good with relationships. Okay, but I don't know. It doesn't matter, because why would you say, yeah, I am feeling you, but because then that would
right.
It's still what it is. I'm not gonna renege on, you know, look.
No, nigga.
No, we're not going back. I said what I said, and he should have just, you know, it is what it is, though. That was years ago.
Okay. The next point that they make, it says, show her. Now, again, this is the mindset of keeping or having a woman get where you can get yourself out of the friend zone. It says, show her that other women want you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the author of this a man or a woman?
I will assume it's a man.
It gotta be.
Let me look at the top of this article right quick.
It gotta be.
Yeah, somebody named Brad. So I think that's a man.
Yeah, that's definitely, because that ain't even a name. Like, that ain't even a name that maybe, because you know how some names are like Terry could go either way, right, or stuff like that, or Jamie could go either way, right, but not Brad. Yeah, Brad don't know what he's talking about. Well,
can that work? I mean, if you're showing a woman that you're trying to get out of the friend zone, but it's like, well, let me show her I got women.
I think that one depends on the woman, and I'm just going with this answer. I'm going to go with stuff I've seen on Twitter, because for me personally, if I want you, it doesn't matter who else wants you. Matter of fact, I don't think I really want anybody else to want you if I want you. So that wouldn't sway me. But I have seen on Twitter where women have said they don't want a man that nobody wants. And so that might work for, now that one might work for some, not for me, you feel me? but it might work for someone who has that thought process. Why they feel like that, I don't know. You know, people are very interesting people. They have their reasons. Maybe it makes them feel more desirable if they have somebody or something that everybody else wants. I don't know. I didn't understand the logic behind that. And I didn't go too deep in the thread to try to find out, because, you know, sometimes it'd be a rabbit hole with these Twitter threads. But so that may work for somebody, not me, but somebody. Yes, that could work. Okay, it's weird, but I think that's just because it wouldn't work for me. So I don't understand that, because if it was me and like other women want you and you seem to be entertaining these other women, to me it would just be like, okay, that's what he wants and he doesn't see me that way. And so even if I was questioning and weighing, oh, well, is it worth whatever? Because I have had friendships like that where I maybe started to get some feelings, but then I weighed, okay, but if it doesn't work out, or if confessing this or whatever would make things awkward, is it worth it? And then sometimes I haven't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I didn't, because then as I continued, I'm like, oh, you know what? No, this actually isn't what I want. And so if I at that point am questioning, and then all of a sudden you're entertaining all these women, I'm be like, oh, okay, well, that's what he's on. You know, I guess not. You know what I'm saying? So, because that would be my, what you say, confirmation that ain't it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and you know that it's funny that you mentioned. I've never heard that before. You said you saw that on the timeline that some women didn't want a man who nobody else wanted. That's kind of, but and you know what? I don't think I'd ever hear. We probably would never hear a man say that, because most men feel like that there's somebody that wants whatever woman.
I disagree, because I actually, what podcast was it? And it's a men podcast where I guess it doesn't matter, but one of them was saying like they want not overly prom dress or evening gown all the time, but they were talking about like, if let's say you're playing ball with your friends or whatever and she comes up, he wants her to look cute or desirable. He don't want her coming up in like joggers or whatever, because he was saying that no man wants a woman that isn't desirable to other people. So actually, not only he said that, but hey, that's how he felt. You know what I mean? So
there's some validity to that, but I think most men can agree that, and I don't want to speak for all men. I think most men can find a situation where most women are going to be, or they can look at him and say, okay, well, she's desirable. She might not be my cup of tea, you know, because if you're 6'2", I ain't checking for you. I don't care. I mean, like, I'll use Candace Parker, basketball player, for example. Candace Parker is beautiful, and I love watching her play basketball. But she's 6'2". Like, there's nothing. I'm 5'7". There's nothing. we not even if I were single. Let me just say
if I
were single. But I mean, like, she's a beautiful woman, but she does nothing for me, because like I don't want to date somebody that much taller than me. Now, if you're a little bit taller than me, that's one thing. But if you got to bend down and get on one knee,
down on you, right?
Yeah, you know, that just can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Most men they want, and you know what, Tamara, it's interesting, because we as men, we want the woman to be desirable to others, but not too much desirable. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they're playing basketball. You come up. It doesn't matter if you in some joggers or whatever the case may be. Guys want other men to be like, damn, you see such and such old girl, you know, like that. But they don't want you to be. They don't want to be disrespectful.
Okay, I see you.
Right,
and you want her to come to that's you nephew at the family.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, I got it.
Exactly. And I can try to explain that theory, but I can't.
And I've also seen though where again on Twitter, because that's where a lot of this stuff be at, where somebody said, if you're going to be with an extremely attractive person, like there's a certain level of, I don't know if they said confidence or something you have to have, because, and I don't think they were specific to men or women, it was just in general, because other people are going to desire that person and might be hopping in their DMs and all this stuff. And even if they're not entertaining it, you have to be okay and just understand and like be secure in yourself that just because other people desire him or her doesn't mean that they're going to step out on you. You know what I'm saying? If they're going to be loyal, they're going to be loyal. And if they're not, it's not because of you. It's just they were never going to be loyal in the first place. And so, yeah, I've seen that side of that conversation as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that too. That is a very hot button topic. And, but like you said, it goes back to confidence and insecurity, and sometimes, it could go either way depending on that particular person. That's a very interesting perspective. Let's see. The next one I have is, it says, don't be needy. Now, I get it, but I don't get it, because I'm your friend, right? So you need me for certain things. I need you for certain things. How do I get out of the friend zone and not be needy? Does that make sense?
And then the thing about it too is, if you decide to suddenly stop being needy, but you're a needy person, and then let's say you do make it out and then you get together and you go back to being needy. See, what I don't like about this list is because it is a sudden change in behavior without any communication that is going to cause me to ask questions. Now, if you're doing that because you want me to ask why, to get confirmation, like, does she even care or whatever, and then you're going to express your feelings, okay, I'll accept that. But if you do all that and then give me some BS reason for your changed behavior, because I am going to ask, you know what I'm saying? I don't like that. And so it's kind of like with friendships, like you just said, their guy friend, again, the one that got married and I kind of fell back when he got the girlfriend. Man, that was somebody that for a season, and I'm extremely grateful for who he was in the season. Man, that was my soundboard. Like, even as I was starting up this podcast and things I was going through with my youngest daughter and all that stuff, that was like I went to him for everything. So I was needy in that season, because I didn't really have many people that, like, a lot of people depended on me emotionally, but I didn't really have many people that I could depend on emotionally. And so I feel like if I switched up suddenly, even if maybe he didn't ask, because maybe he didn't ask, I'm sure he'd probably wonder, like, and maybe even reach out, like, well, dang, how you doing? Like, how's it going? Like, everything good? You know what I mean? Because that would just be weird. And now, me personally, I don't need anybody that's too needy, because I have a very busy life. I have kids that are, while they're adults, they still live in the home and they need me. And I make time for people, but I'm also a person that needs time to myself. As you said, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a content creator. I'm doing a lot. And so I need somebody that I can have my space to do the things that I, one, need to do, because I got to make money, but then also, two, that give me life. Like, creating content, that's my thing. Like, if y'all would have saw before we started recording, my excitement, because I have this audio mixer and I just got it. Like, it's an investment that is for creative projects. It's not even necessarily a company investment, but I'm just as happy as if I got a new iMac or something for my computer. That's also in my future goals. You know what I'm saying? So So it's kind of like I personally wouldn't want anybody needy. So if you were needy, honestly, and then you stop being needy, I probably would be kind of happy just because I don't want anybody that's super needy. But I just don't think doing that without communicating anything, that's what I don't like about any of these, because you're just switching up for what out of nowhere. Why? Like, what you on, sir? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that one's weird.
That was a perfect segue for the final point that they had.
Okay.
It says to ask her on a date. So we talked about the communication. Now they're saying come straight forward. Hey, not let's go hang out and get drinks. Let's go out on a date. I'm literally in this zone that I can't get out of, that you put me in. And now I'm asking you, I want to go out on a date. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I love it. Like, I would probably ask why, just because, again, I would ask anybody who came to me with wanting to pursue me or whatever, because honestly, that's kind of what that says. You're trying to pursue this in a different way. So I would ask why, because we've been friends. And I would preface, like, not like why, like rudely, you know what I'm saying? I would, explain thoroughly so that he doesn't feel offended or feelings hurt or whatever. But then if I wasn't feeling him, I would say that too, because I just think it's unfair to someone to not be truthful. People sometimes think that it's mean to say, I don't like you like that or whatever. And I might not say it like that because but however I said it, like, I do care about people's feelings, so it wouldn't be rude. But I think with that same caring about people's feelings, don't give people a false sense of hope. So like, if I hadn't been considering it or whatever, I would say, you know what, I think we should just say friends. I love what we have, or the relationship that we have. That's kind of what I need from you. And I don't see anything else, or I don't know. That sounds kind of gentle, hopefully. But if I was considering it, I would ask why, like what changed or whatever that you are wanting to go a different direction or, whatever. And then he'd say whatever he'd say. He better have a solid reason. And then if I was on that, that's the one that I love, because it's honest, it's vulnerable, which you need to be in relationships anyway. And then also, I'm the type of person that I need reassurance. Now, not in a like just insecure type way, but more so just in a feeling emotionally safe. I would need to know why. And if you can communicate that and I'm on that, great. Let's go on this date. See, if we want to take things further and go from there. And then if we go on this date and we decide, no, this is weird or whatever, then we can go back to being friends. Hopefully it don't ruin our friendship, because that would totally suck. But
off one date.
right. So yeah, I like that one the best.
Okay. Before I get you out of here, I have a question and a bonus question.
Okay.
The question, I told y'all you weren't gonna leave here without me getting in your business.
Okay.
So so me and my boys, we always talk about and I don't even know if let me rephrase this. What if?
Okay.
One of the fellas maintains that in most people's lives, as we go throughout this thing called life, there's a what if. And then sometimes there's a job that's a what if, sometimes there's an opportunity that's what if, and then sometimes there's a relationship that's a what if. Sometimes that relationship could just be a friendship that just never developed. So Tamara the Dawn, my question to you, and you don't have to give names, is there a what if in your life, past or present, that you just kind of scratch your head like, man, I wonder what if this would have happened? then maybe this would have happened, and maybe this would have happened, maybe this would have happened, you know?
Yeah, not currently. There was a what if that and it's kind of interesting because the what if we hadn't always like maintained contact or whatever, and so just based on different things, I just always wondered like what would it be like, or is that something that could happen or whatever, just based on the chemistry we had and just different things that I know I look for in somebody, and these are characteristics that this person has, and also things I didn't realize I needed in someone that because of this person, I realized, you know what, I would want somebody to be like that. And so I kind of wondered, I had a what if for years. It was the same what if that would like, I didn't think about it like every day, but like it would come up. But then that what if got into a lifelong situation. And then that was not the what if no more, because then, so
Fair
enough.
Fair enough. Okay. Just a lifelong situation.
Hopefully it's lifelong, because it's so crazy, because you hope when you get married that it is forever, but
right.
I've been seeing a lot of people getting divorced lately. I mean, and been together for like decades or over a decade or whatever. And I just am like, what happened? You know what I mean? And I know we don't know all the ins and outs of relationships. So, but I've been seeing that more often, and that's scary. Or seeing people that are going through a divorce that are like, maybe you're friends with one of the person and you see how heartbroken they are and just how wrecked they are. And that's scary. Like, I've been through a divorce. That's why I'm been single for so long, man. 16 years it'll be this year, which is wild because I'm like not that old. So it's
that means it's time. It's time for you to get back in the saddle, get married again.
And I've actually been thinking about that lately, because I mean, there are various reasons why. First it was, okay, you got to heal, then it was, I was in school, so focus on that. Then it was, their dad died, so then I have grieving children. Then it was, I started podcasting and I started a company. So I just started like all these other things that have taken my focus, and now I'm probably at a more settled place. Plus my kids are all grown, because my youngest is 19, and so while they still live at home, they're still a lot more independent and kind of just doing their thing. And so I've actually been thinking about that a lot more lately, especially now that we've moved. And so, I feel more settled. I guess I got to get out there and go somewhere, because all I really do is...
You got to get out the house now. You got to get out the
house. And I do get out the house, but like for work. So that don't really count. You know what I mean? But I was thinking about that. Like, okay, so where would I even meet somebody? Church would be about the only place. And I mean, that could be a thing, but it probably is time,
Well, when you feel like it's time, it'll happen. It'll happen. I mean, you can't force it. You can't rush the process, because everything's a process. So that's okay. That's good. That's good. Bonus question. Bonus question has nothing to do with anything that we've talked about.
Okay, because I was like, how deeper is this man about to get in my business?
No. Bonus question. Hip hop turns 50 this year. Okay. So what I want to do this year is get a perspective from each guest that I have on. Just when someone says hip hop, tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind as hip hop turns 50 years old. Just if I say, Tamara, what do you think about hip hop? Or go.
Literally, the first thing that came to mind when you said hip hop was Run DMC. Like,
Okay.
that was literally the first thing that came to mind. Hip hop is such an interesting thing because I feel like since throughout my life, I've seen it evolve. And I think, like, what hip hop used to be, is it still the same thing it was in the 80s and early 90s? It's not. And then I think, like, who creates these genres to decide like what's hip hop versus rap versus we won't say pop because that's kind of different, but trap music, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just really interesting just how music in general has evolved. But literally, when you said hip hop, Run DMC came to mind. Yeah.
Hey, well, nothing wrong with that. They're the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest rap group ever. So, yeah, I wanted to do that. I'm asking every guest that comes on this year, I'm asking them just about hip hop, and I just want to get their overall opinion on the genre and their experiences or whatever. Well, whatever comes to their mind.
I
But
will
yeah, you
add
go
to
ahead.
it that it's a vibe too. Like, it's not just a mute, like it is music, but it's not just music. It's music, it's clothes, it's how it makes you feel, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, I guess that part is music in general, but I just feel like when I think of hip hop, but again, this kind of goes back to the early stages of hip hop. I think of like somebody with cross-colored jacket and some high top shoes and some jeans, but not skinny jeans, just regular jeans like they used to wear back in the 90s. And I don't know, like that's what I think of when I think of hip hop. And I know it's probably different than that now, but as music evolves and the older I get, I even just said to some kid the other day that I work with, like, oh no, I don't want to hear y'all music. And he was like, what you mean my music? Music is music. I was like, okay, music is music, huh? So do you listen to the Temptations? And he was like, what? No, my mom probably do. Oh, so that's, you'd say that's your mom's music. Yeah, okay, but I thought music was music. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so since I don't listen to everything that's current as much unless I hear my kids play something, and then I add it to my ratchet playlist for my
Right.
workout playlist. But outside of that, I'm very much stuck in the 90s because that was when that's what I grew up with. That's what I love. But what I love though is that my kids love 90s music too. And so like they can appreciate, you know, our 90s R&B and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you for coming on. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. It's been
Man,
too long.
I'm out here, y'all. Mama, I made it. I didn't even know I hadn't made it before, but I'ma believe you.
Oh my God, she is so silly. Again, before we get you out of here, tell people where they can find you. Tell them where they can find the podcast. Her
Mm.
podcast drops the same day as mine,
Yep, yep.
so you got no reason not to listen to either one. But yeah,
Hmm.
give everybody information, podcast, happy hour, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Tamara to the Break of Dawn is the podcast. Like he said, I drop on Thursdays on Apple Podcasts, like every major podcast platform. If you go to tamarathedawn.com, so Tamara is Tamara, every other letter is a A. Ow. But Tamara the Dawn, and then Dawn is DAWN. That's my website. That is the one-stop shop for literally everything that I do. As he mentioned, podcast happy hour. I am 1/5 of the dopest podcast collective out there. You
Crazy.
feel me? So myself, Jay Book, who she's been on here before from Jay's Quick
Mhm.
3, Autumn from the Lit Life podcast, Chris from Shenanigans with Friends, and Audrey from Odd Tales podcast. It used to be once a month, consistently. Ooh, excuse
Bless you.
me.
Bless you.
And I was trying to hold that back too, but it used to be once a
good.
month consistently. Now it's going to be more of a pop up, which we actually are doing a podcast happy hour this month because by the
Okay.
time this drops, it'll be February.
This
It
true.
is February 11th at, I believe, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Let me double check, but I know for sure. Yep. 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on J Bug's platform. So we're
Okay.
going to go live. We back. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be back every month, but we are going to be back more consistently than not because we've taken a break. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, podcast happy hour is so fun because we never know what we're doing. Like we never know how to start the show. I don't know. It's just we're really good friends off the mic, you know what I mean? And so really it's just y'all get some insight into our foolishness and our friendship. And that's where we entertain y'all with, you know, us just being us. And that's really what makes it so dope. So that's next month. Follow me on Twitter. You can access that from my website, Instagram, TikTok as well. I'm on there. So if you go to tamarathedawn.com, or you can find me Tamara_the_dawn if you would just want to do that. That's my handle on all social media. And if you go to the link in my bio on my social media, that'll take you to my link tree, which again, one-stop shop for everything. So I pretty much follow everyone back unless you don't have no content or you don't speak English because I don't know what you're talking about. Or if you're a kid, I don't do that. But yeah, I pretty much follow everybody back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I appreciate you for coming on. This has been fun. Again, it's been too long. I knew once I heard that episode, I was like, this would be perfect. And then I got this this thing that I saw, and I said, man, this would be great. So I appreciate you for coming on. This will not be her last time on here, I promise. Again, one of my favorite podcasters out there, and I love. I one day I'm gonna hopefully on the 11th I'll catch Podcast Happy Hour live. I only caught you guys live maybe once or twice. I normally listen to it on the playback on the podcast, but y'all crack me up, man. Y'all are funny. And the thing that I love about is she mentioned Podcast Happy Hour is that all of you became friends over podcasting, over the internet, and didn't know each other and did not meet until what, last year when y'all went to the cabin in Tennessee?
Yep. Turn up.
Georgia, which was a funny story in and of itself. But yeah, check her out. Check out her content. Be sure to check out this episode. You can find this podcast wherever you're listening to it at right now. Remember, the podcast drops every Thursday at midnight. Make sure that you subscribe because from time to time we'll drop bonus episodes on Sunday at midnight as well. So that's going to do it for us. So for my girl Tamara the Dawn, I am your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
5,000.